Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Bookcast Name, where we dive into the world of amazing books, inspiring thoughts, and perhaps a sprinkle of good old laughter. I'm Mike, your bibliophile in residence.
And I'm Casey, your literary guide to all things insightful and sometimes chuckle-worthy. Today we're delving into something quite special, aren't we, Mike?
Absolutely, Casey. We're exploring the philosophy of joyful decluttering by none other than the decluttering queen herself, Marie Kondo.
Ah, Marie Kondo. Her name alone brings an image of perfectly folded t-shirts to my mind. This book, Mike, isn't just about tidying up, is it?
Not at all. While it's centered around decluttering, it goes much deeper, encouraging mindfulness and intentionality in how we arrange our spaces and lives. And let's not forget the KonMari Method. It's become a global sensation for a reason.
That's right. The KonMari Method has taken the world by storm, transforming messy closets and cluttered lives into havens of joy and clarity. It's more than just tidying. It's an entire lifestyle shift.
Exactly, Casey. It's about choosing joy, or as Marie would put it, only keeping things that spark joy. It's fascinating how this simple principle has blossomed into such a significant movement worldwide.
And what I love about this philosophy is that it teaches us to cherish each item and space rather than just organizing and forgetting them. I mean, who knew decluttering could be so profound?
Right? And I personally love how it prompts us to reflect on our belongings' true value and how they serve our lives. It's both a mental and physical transformation.
Well, speaking of transformations, remember when I tried the KonMari method last spring? My closet never knew what hit it. I let go of things I hadn't worn in years. It was like a wardrobe renaissance.
Haha, I remember you mentioned that. Did it feel liberating?
Oh, absolutely. It was almost as if a weight was lifted off my shoulders. And honestly, less clutter meant less stress and more time to focus on what matters.
That's the magic of Marie Kondo's philosophy right there. It's life-changing in its simplicity. Looking at our possessions through the lens of joy is such a refreshing perspective, don't you think?
Totally agree, Mike. And for our listeners, I hope you're as excited as we are to explore more about this method and how it can add joy to your spaces and lives.
So, stick around, folks, as we dive deeper into Marie Kondo's world of joyful decluttering. We promise it's going to be both enlightening and fun. So, Casey, we mentioned the idea of keeping only things that spark joy, right? What's especially compelling to me is the way Marie advises us to envision our ideal lifestyle first. It's like setting the GPS before you start your journey.
Absolutely, Mike. It's about visualizing where you want to go before you start removing obstacles. This vision-setting stage is key because it serves as a compass throughout the decluttering process.
Exactly. And then comes the actual process. Marie recommends a category-based approach rather than going room by room. It's like tackling one type of item at a time, reduces overwhelm, and helps streamline the decision-making.
Right. You start with clothes, then move to books, papers, Komono, and finally sentimental items. I love how progressing through these categories gradually builds our joy meter skills. It's like a decluttering boot camp.
Haha, a boot camp where the only drill sergeant is joy itself. And honestly, have you ever noticed how tackling a small category can kickstart a momentum for tackling other areas in life? It's like an energy snowball.
Oh, totally. And speaking of energy, let's talk about sentimental items last. Marie recommends it because by the time you reach them, you've honed your ability to judge what truly sparks joy. It's a masterclass in emotional decision-making.
True. And it's fascinating how such a structured approach can lead to such personal revelations. You learn a lot about yourself in the process, don't you think?
Definitely. It's more than just cleaning up. It's self-discovery wrapped in tidying. And Marie's method is a perfect balance between being practical and philosophical.
Very well put, Casey. It's a method that encourages us to respect and thank the items before letting them go, which I think instills a deeper sense of gratitude.
Exactly, Mike. And remember when you helped me sort through my sentimental items? Each decision was a little emotional roller coaster, but by the end, it was so rewarding.
Of course, I remember you were torn between keeping that old concert ticket or letting it go. Did you ever decide what to do?
Haha. Yes, I ended up keeping it as a memento of an amazing night, but having that clarity and being intentional about what stays means everything else holds more meaning now.
That's the beauty of it. Each item remaining is a deliberate choice, a cherished part of your journey, rather than just something that takes up space.
Exactly. And for everyone listening, whether you're beginning your decluttering journey or well into it, embracing these principles can transform not only your space, but also your mindset.
Well said, Casey. The KonMari principles are more than tidying. They're about joy, gratitude, and transformation. So let's all embark on this joyful journey with newfound enthusiasm. So Casey, let's dive into this concept Marie introduces called Karakua Kariku, the art of sparking joy. Sounds intriguing, doesn't it?
Absolutely, Mike. It's all about more than tidying up. It's about finding joy in our environments. Having possessions that spark joy gives us an emotional connection to our space.
Right. And Marie contrasts this with traditional decluttering methods, which often focus on sheer utility. The does this fit? Have I used it in the last 6 months kind of questions.
Totally. While function is important, Karakua Kariku taps into the heart's response rather than the mind's logic. It asks, does this item bring me joy? Such a powerful perspective to have.
It really is. I find that when you focus on joy, it's not just about what's practical, but what's truly valuable to you personally. How often do we get to prioritize joy in such a concrete way?
And it's liberating, right? By surrounding ourselves with joy-inducing items, our homes transform into personal havens. Like Marie suggests, it leads to a deeper happiness and fulfillment.
Exactly, Casey. It's almost like keeping a collection of personal happiness tokens. Everything you choose to retain becomes a symbol of your personal journey.
Yes, I remember after applying this, even my mornings became more meaningful. It's amazing how even sipping coffee from a mug that sparks joy can set a positive tone for the day.
Little rituals like that definitely change your outlook. When each item holds a positive memory or sentiment, your environment feels energizing rather than overwhelming.
Couldn't agree more, Mike. And for our listeners, embracing Karakua Kariku isn't about perfection. It's a gentle reminder to focus on what truly matters in life, an emotional audit, if you will.
So, Casey, with all this talk about joy and personal treasures, let's not forget how the act of decluttering itself is a powerful introspective journey. It's like going through your personal history.
Absolutely. I mean, decluttering can seriously make you reflect on so many aspects of your life. It's like meeting yourself over and over, evolving with each decision of what to keep and what to let go.
Right? And it's fascinating to see how this journey impacts not just our physical spaces, but our mental and emotional landscapes too. Each item you handle and decide on can shift something internally, don't you think?
Definitely. I think what Marie touches on is that our outer environments are often mirrors to our inner state. Tidying up can feel like you're organizing your thoughts and emotions.
That's true, Casey. The process becomes surprisingly therapeutic. It's like a spa day for the soul, just without the bath towels.
Haha, I love that visual, Mike. And it's so rewarding, too. After going through the piles and the chaos, what you're left with is this beautiful clarity, not just in your home, but inside your mind as well.
Yeah, there's a sense of personal growth, isn't there? And let's not forget the satisfaction of reclaiming your space and seeing its transformation.
Oh, absolutely. Each room starts to breathe a little easier. It's as if you're finally carving out space for future joys and opportunities.
And it's not really about just decluttering, right? It's about understanding the story behind each item and why it has or doesn't have a place in your future journey.
Yes, it's almost like composting your memories, making something beautiful and fertile out of what once clutter.
Exactly, Casey. I think that's the ultimate magic of this whole process. You unearth layers of your own personal narrative.
Totally, it feels transformative. And maybe this clarity we find with our things could mirror the clarity we get in how we make decisions and live our lives.
Couldn't agree more. The decluttering journey, as Marie puts it, is less about a spotless home and more about a balanced, harmonious life.
Right, and for everyone listening, remember that this is a process, an ongoing journey of transformation, reflection, and serenity. It's magical in its own quiet way.
Speaking of harmonious living, Casey, doesn't Marie's method just naturally lead us to mindfulness? I mean, choosing items that truly spark joy is like doing a mental check-in with yourself every time.
Yes, Mike, every choice becomes a moment of reflection. It's like a mindfulness session wrapped up in your favorite sweater. And you get to practice gratitude too. as you acknowledge what each item has brought into your life.
And let's not forget the way a tidy space just kind of clears the mind, right? When my space is free of chaos, it feels like my brain finally gets some breathing room.
Absolutely, a clutter-free home feels like an invitation for peace and calm to settle in. Plus, I think the process really transforms tidying into a sort of ritual. Each step is deliberate and appreciative.
Casey, doesn't it feel like this process makes you a bit of a detective of your own life? You're piecing together what things are a meaningful part of your journey ahead.
Totally, Mike. It's like unraveling your past and carefully choosing how your future path is shaped by these possessions. Plus, the calmness that follows is such a profound reward.
It's almost like you're cultivating an environment that acts as a continuous reminder of the life you want to lead, a bit like setting your own motivational scene.
Exactly, it's mindful living in action. You narrow it down to the essentials that honestly define you, and that's incredibly empowering, don't you think?
Empowering and liberating, for sure. And dare I say, even a bit zen? It makes me think maybe Marie Kondo has a parallel career as a Zen master.
Haha, I wouldn't be surprised. Her approach is definitely transformative, and I find that it encourages us to cherish not just the things we keep, but the intentional life we choose to lead.
Speaking of which, Casey, don't you think our belongings carry a ton of emotional weight? Every item seems to have its own story, almost like a diary entry from a particular time in our lives.
Oh, definitely, Mike. Each piece is like a snapshot of a moment we've lived. Marie Kondo really hits home with this idea, doesn't she? She encourages us to face these emotional attachments head on.
It's like having a personal dialogue with yourself, isn't it? Sorting through all these items, you're not just tidying up your space, but also your thoughts and feelings.
Exactly. It's therapeutic. I think Kondo touches on a very human necessity. Confronting our past through these sentimental treasures helps us gain clarity.
And that clarity can be so freeing. It's like lifting off a weight you didn't even realize you were carrying around.
True. And by letting go of certain things, we also liberate ourselves from the attachments that no longer serve us. It's like firing up a fresh start, but on a very personal level.
It's quite enlightening when you come to think of it. I've heard people say tidying up in this way has ignited emotional clarity for them.
Yes, they often say it brings a sense of newfound peace, like opening up window and letting all the dust and shadows out.
I guess it's that profound realization that we don't have to hold on to everything. Just because something was part of your past doesn't mean it needs to be in your present.
Exactly, and by keeping what truly matters, you're crafting a more intentional, meaningful life. Isn't that kind of like crafting your own emotional sanctuary?
It's a great way to see it, Casey. You're building a space that reflects who you genuinely are and want to be. That's quite a journey, don't you think?
An incredible journey, indeed. And each decision along the way just reaffirms the life you wish to live moving forward.
You know, it's like Marie Kondo is encouraging a gentle revolution. Clear the clutter, reclaim your focus, and in the process, find yourself.
Yes, and it's these little transformations and breakthroughs that make her method so impactful and, honestly, kind of magical.
Magic aside, Casey, it's practical advice wrapped in profound insights. I think that's why it resonates with so many people.
Speaking of magical insights, Mike, isn't it fascinating how the KonMari method isn't just about tidying up, but about shifting your whole perspective on life?
Absolutely, Casey. It's a philosophical shift from constantly growing our collections to living with intention. You know, the classic less is more mantra applied to everyday life.
Right. By focusing on what truly sparks joy, you redefine what each item means to you. It's like they become allies in creating the life you actually want to live.
Exactly. Instead of things weighing you down, they now add value, function, and purpose. It's pretty liberating once you adopt this mindset.
And let's not forget, it also shifts our focus toward gratitude. She really teaches us to appreciate what we have rather than constantly yearning for what we don't.
That's an essential part of it, isn't it? It reorients your entire approach to living. It's less about accumulation and more about appreciation.
Yes! And it's kind of funny how people initially think it's just about purging their closets, only to realize it's transforming their entire way of seeing and living.
It's like a mind declutter, too. Once you start organizing your physical space, your thoughts follow suit. Suddenly, everything becomes lighter, clearer.
Funny how discarding a pair of old shoes can turn into a philosophical moment, isn't it? It's these little twists in perspectives that make it all so impactful.
Indeed, and that's why it becomes such an enriching experience. It's an exploration of self, figuring out who am I by simply asking, does this bring me joy?
It's almost like Marie Kondo has given us all permission to grow out of our past selves and build a future filled with only the stuff and sentiments that really matter.
Yeah, and in doing so, it aligns our surroundings with our values and aspirations. It's intentional living at its finest.
So, Mike, what about you? How do you incorporate this way of thinking in your own life? A secret KonMari enthusiast, maybe?
Ha! Guilty as charged. I may have a notoriously spirited sock drawer now, but seriously, it does help focus on what's truly valuable, not just the flashy stuff.
Well, there you have it, folks. Even Mike's sock drawer is getting philosophically aligned.
But in all seriousness, Marie Kondo's approach reminds us to strip back to the essentials, doesn't it?
Absolutely, Mike. It's about clarity, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. So let's take a moment to reflect on how these themes from the life-changing magic of tidying up can inspire life-changing realizations.
Yes, one of the biggest takeaways is intentional living. When you declutter, you're forced to think about what really matters to you.
It's like getting rid of the noise to find the music in your own life, right? Each thing you choose to keep becomes a conscious part of your story.
Exactly. It's about living joyfully with less but fuller, things that truly spark joy.
And listeners, if you haven't done so already, ask yourself, does this spark joy? It's a wonderful lens through which to view your life and belongings.
Yeah, and this reflection isn't just about decluttering your home. It's about decluttering your mind and spirit too, making room for what you truly want.
That's right. So whether it's clothes, old habits, or even relationships that no longer align with your values, it could be time for a KonMari moment.
KonMari indeed. And Casey, it's powerful because it centers on mindfulness. By choosing what stays, you choose what truly defines your space and existence.
So true, Mike. And for our listeners, we really invite you all to start or continue your journey with the KonMari Method. Who knows what treasures you might find within yourself?
Exactly. And as Marie Kondo says, tidy your space, transform your life. It's not just a clean home, it's a refreshing mindset and way of living.
And don't you think it's a fun journey too? Sorting through memories and rediscovering what truly matters to you.
It is. And I think that's why people find it so liberating. You're not just letting go, you're elevating your life to reflect the best version of you.
And with that, we hope you feel inspired to declutter, but also to fill your life with intention and joy.
Don't forget to share your own tidying adventures with us. We'd love to hear your stories.
Indeed, until next time, keep finding joy in everything you do. Thanks for listening.
Goodbye, folks. See you in the next episode.